Hey guys, welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. But before we get into it though, I'd like to remind you guys to like the video and subscribe and comment something, and be sure to be safe wherever you're watching and to enjoy the video. So, the last time we were at Hanako's birthday party and Akira bought 2 bottles of wine, and we ended up getting faded. So with the girls, and when Lily woke us up, for some reason, she decided that it would be a good idea to have her head over ours, and we gave her a headbutt in response, sorta. Well, so now, and now Hanako asked us to go grocery shopping for her. I've been spending time more on it than before. I think I can do okay. Good work then. She too starts smiling, and much more earnestly than I at that. I, I have full confidence that I can do fine in without any extra studying, but the fact that she's putting in effort instead of just reading the library is heart heartening. I'll grab your stuff and take it to your dorm this evening. See ya. With a small wave, we part ways. I'll go do my homework before meeting Lily. I should be able to take care of it in time. We're wrangling with a particularly complicated math problem that caused me to be a little bit late for meeting with Lily. Only a couple of minutes, but enough to make me step smartly out of the courtyard into the school gate. I make a right turn, then start my way towards the small town below, leaving a few students turning the way to the bus station. I slip my right hand into my pocket as I walk in the orange sunlight of dusk. Thankfully, the sweltering summer heat's starting to die down, making way for a pleasant cool breeze. When I stretch my hands up behind a familiar figure takes form, a cane in her right hand. Ah, Lily. She stops and turns around, swiveling her head slightly to try to work out exactly where the voice came from. Hey, it's me. I quickly catch up to her, coming in beside her and matching her slow pace as I resume walking. Good afternoon, he saw. Hi there. I glance up at the sky. A distinct tinge of orange discolors the clouds, so washing the footpath in its light. Long shadows from the trees fall across the wide road down the hill. So, Isao, what brings you here? I was just going to town to grab some groceries. Hanako sent me. Hanako sent you? Yeah, she said she needed to study for a test tomorrow. I was going to come to town anyway, so I'll just buy her stuff as well. Unspoken is that Lily really could use some help to get food, but it's obvious fact that neither of us needs to state. It's good to hear she's studying for it. I thought the same thing when she asked me to come with you. We continue walking down the street, a familiar sound of her cane echoing through the air as we go. Except for the occasional passing car and leaves whispering in the branches, there's a blissful silence. Thank God I can relax her the first time today. I glance over at Lily. That porcelain face of hers never seems to lack the air of relaxed confidence. I guess the same could be said of her personality too. As she silently walks, her face remaining pointed to the street ahead of her, I look ahead and savor the cool air blowing over my face. This is probably the calmest moment I've ever had since about face my life it took so recently. To have it while walking to get some groceries. What a weird life. I feel the crumpled up note rubbing up against my hand in my pocket. I pull out to check its contents. Let's see, eggs, bread, cereal, thyme, lettuce, shaved ham. That sounds like quite a bit to carry back with you on your own. Yeah, just how much does this girl eat anyway? My mind suddenly clicks that yes, there's actually a person beside me. Wait, I mean... She laughs wholeheartedly. My, Hisao. Her giggles punctuate her words, though she's making a little effort to surpass them. Quite direct today, aren't we? Yeah, you got me. Still, it's quite a bit. Usually I go shopping with Hanako, so I know what she buys. It's the same thing every week. Huh? Huh? She a good cook? She gives a nervous giggle. It's usually me who ends up cooking. I used to do so for Akira, so it's no problem doing it for Hanako as well. You can cook, but a short hum with an amused lilt emanates from beside me. I wonder if the fact that she seems amused by my comments often is so actually genuine, or rather just from a want to make me more comfortable at addressing her blindness. There's ways around it. Some meals are more difficult to cook than others because of being unable to see what I'm doing, but it usually only takes a little more time. Fingers can double as very useful measurement tools, for example. It makes sense, but she'd have to be pretty careful not to hurt herself. I wonder how many times that it's happened given that it sounds like she's cooked alone for possibly years while Akira worked her parents were gone. With that, the conversation trails off. Compared to the awkward silence of Hanako, Lily seems genuinely content to say what she thinks and to stay quiet when there's nothing to say. The slick road under my feet bathed in the orange glow, the occasional fallen leaf crunching underfoot as we walk. I let out a deep yawn, my lack of sleep coming back to haunt me. Did you not get much sleep last night? I couldn't sleep at all for the last 2 nights, probably insomnia. Lily's face suddenly becomes worried. It feels like a personal failure every time she gets worried about my well-being, even if it's genuinely nice to know someone cares. You have insomnia? Aren't you gonna go see the nurse about it? Nah, no real need. It's happened before a few times. My meds screw with my sleeping occasionally. I'm sorry. Come on. It's not your fault. At least I shouldn't have been in trouble getting to sleep tonight. You do worry me sometimes. I worry you? I reach around and scratch the back of my neck, kind of wanting to address this. Hey, Lily. I don't mean to sound weird, but please try to forget about my heart condition. She looks kind of lost. I heartily blame her. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, just don't treat me differently because of it. She bows her head lightly, her white cheeks reddening almost imperceptibly. It's only natural to worry about those around you. Well, it's nice to know there's someone out like that out there. It may be somewhat embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. Lily takes a breath to regain her composure and manages a gentle smile, though her cheeks remain flushed. The final downhill walk to the store passes in silence. Welcome. I suppose I'll get my stuff first and Hanako is on the second round. I grabbed 2 well-worn red baskets from the stack beside the entrance and passed one to Lily. Just as she did before, she lays it on the ground. Just as she did before, she lays it on the ground and slides her retracted cane between the basket and handles before picking it back up with her right hand. When she takes a hold of my arm of her own, I'm surprised just how fast this kind of casual contact became so natural, mostly due to necessity, no doubt. Shall we? Sure. While we navigate around the store, the odd person occasionally passing us pays us no heed at all, since compared to the stirs and whispers around the city. As we reach each aisle, I quickly check with Lily what she needs and grab it along with what I want, putting our items in their respective baskets. It's an odd feeling to be deepened or so much for something as basic as shopping. Hanako could be practically a necessity for her to pick out what she wants after all. Right, I'm pretty much done with both of my stuff and Hanako's. You needing anything else, Lily? No, this should be everything. Off we go then. Oddly, there's a queue a mile long. Considering the stores only large enough to warrant one counter, seems like it'll take a while. Damn. Lily gives an inquisitive look, unable to see the reason for my complaint. The queue's really long. Looks like we'll have to wait. How strange. The same mood of resignation? We reluctantly take our place at the end of the line. One person finishes, the line moves up. Another person finishes, the line moves up. By the time we finally reach the head of the line, I'm so close to dozing off that Lily has to gently pat me on the back for me to move up. Hisao? Sorry. She gives a short sigh of concentration as I move up. Getting the groceries for Hanako and me, I put into separate bags. Thank you. Please come again. By the time we emerge from the store, Lily's holding a single bag while I struggle to carry four. Both hands are well and truly full. It's a lot of work, but thankfully the items in them are light. Even without looking skyward, it's obvious that a surprising amount of time has passed the road outside being dark, lit by street lamps. Once Lily retrieves her cane, we set out back from the dormitories the way we came, leaving the welcoming warm glow of the store. Despite the road being empty of cars, full bags of abundance make up for the lack of noise, constantly clunking and squeaking together. My, Hisao, it's a goodie you find you're eating well. I'm a growing guy after all. I need to eat all I can. That must be nice, being a man. What? Seemingly not noticing or ignoring my surprise, the completely out of left field comment, she continues without missing a beat. Weight doesn't really bother you when eating most of the time. I get what you mean. Women tend to worry about stuff like that more than we do, I guess. Exactly, it makes me somewhat envious, to be honest. Well, it's not like we can outright ignore it. With an affirmative nod, we continue on our walk. Huh? That's right. What is it? Hanako mentioned your birthday was earlier this year. Did you do anything special for it? She gives a long pause, lost in thought for a few seconds as she recalls the event. Not really. It was just Hanako and me having a little party during the night after school. Your birthday's supposed to be a big event, you know. Sounds like a pretty lonely way to spend a birthday. Just her and Hanako staying overnight. Birthdays always felt like a family occasion for me. They were a time when, in spite of their full-time jobs, both of my parents would make an effort to be there for the day, or at least for a party beforehand. It reminds me of how Lily mentioned she hadn't seen her family in such a long time, and ended up moving away from Akira's house afterwards. But I guess it's the same in situation as mundane as these, considering her inability to read the package. Just getting groceries would be a pain without somebody else around. In the end, she's just as Hanako and me, Akira when she's off from work. Be that as it may, she still seems to have a more distinct friends among the students, not to mention people like Yuko. It seems that it seems to be her own choice that there's much separation between those who are close to her and those she only socializes with. It humbles me a little to see how much Lily seems to have her life set up going and just as she wants. Yet Hanako is here for her to celebrate her birthday, and I'm here helping her with shopping. It's kind of weird. It's a kind of weird symbiosis, I suppose. Are you alright, Hiso? Sorry? You just seemed to go very quiet, that's all. Sorry, I was just thinking. Oh? And now I've piqued her interest. It feels kind of overly personal to talk about, though. I keep on forgetting that, like, I keep on trying to click on the OBS screen, thinking that it's going to work on the game on OBS, thinking it's gonna work on the other screen where I have the game at. It was just kind of, I was thinking about how you seem to have everything so sorted out, even with Hanako relying on you. I can admit that even I kind of relied on you when I first transferred in. I was thinking, I think it's a good quality to have. I turned to Lily, surveying her reaction. She's forcing herself to look forward, furrowing her brow quite a bit. Her face looks a bit awkward, as if she was trying to find just the right words. Lily? I would thank you, but assuming that I don't rely on the presence of others too much, you'd be wrong to think that Hanako simply depends on me with nothing in return. She used to have a bit of trouble saying it, even though it's largely what I thought already. If she tried hard to maintain her independence, as anyone would have to do in her position, cider or not, maybe she finds out how it's hard to talk about her own needs. It's only now that I realize an omission in what she says, though I decide to follow it up largely in jest to avoid things too personal. Oh, and what about me? She suddenly runs ahead of me and turns, blocking me off. With a smile, she holds her hand behind her head as she leans forwards. You're different. With that, she turns back and continues to walk ahead of me. And with a newfound spring in her step, all I can do is raise an eyebrow and have a dazed grin. I don't think I've seen this playful teasing side of her before. So I'm different. It's hard to work out the exact contents, but knowing her, ambiguity was intended. Our relationship has been changing, at the very least simply because I've begun to stand on my own feet more and started getting more curious about the situation of those around me. As to why, probably a mix of personal curiosity and want to try to work out how to deal with my situation. I'm less sure of Lily, though. The way her own statement so similar to my own feelings towards her throws me off so much. Watching her make her way up the street, cane tapping left to right, I decide to settle on the matter later and just smile. This is a nice side of her, and I don't want to forget it. Eventually, we get to the girls' dormitories, both my arms arching from the weight of the 2 sets of groceries. We're finally here. Phew. I bend down to wipe my forehead with the back of my hand. Lily stops in front of her door and sets down her bag, fishing around her pocket for the key. Thank you, Isel. I really appreciate your help. And, this is nothing. It might be nothing to you, but it's definitely something for me. And with that, she steps through the door, closing it behind her. I blink. Those were nothing but honest things. But I can't help feeling something different about them. Anyway, I have something else to do before I can mull on that at my leisure. I turn back to the door room and proceed to knock twice in quick succession. The bag still in my hand, rustling together. After a couple of seconds, the door slowly opens, and one weren't looking closely, they could have forgiven for thinking it hadn't moved at all. I twist my hand inside and try to peer through the tiny sliver of gap between the door and the door frame. Hey Hanako, I've got your stuff. Ah. With that, she opens the door completely, making her playing room visible from her shoulder, sparsely decorated. Probably even more unremarkable than my room. I hold out my right arm, both bags almost pulling it straight back down under weight. Thank you, Hisao. I'm sorry to make you carry them all this way. It's fine. Don't worry. Just don't make me do it every day, okay? As I pass the bags, a lighthearted chuckle. After the initial transfer of weight, she manages to take them easily. I'll be off then. Night, Hanako. Good night. See you in class tomorrow. With a deep bow, her groceries still in both hands, she steps back and shuts the door. Making my way back to my own dorm, I put my bag into my other hand to balance them out. Even as I do, I can't get Lily's light-hearted smile out of my mind. When I first met her, it would have been nearly impossible to imagine her like that. Indeed, it feels like we've become closer in the past few weeks since I got to know her both in Hanako. The time that I spent with her each day, the small exchanges of happiness we share, those small moments of joy as I get closer to her. I'm far from certain, but I don't think these are just the normal feelings of friendship. Once I return to my room, I store away my groceries and begin getting ready for the night. I swapped the school books in my bag for those I'll need tomorrow, putting out the yellow envelope Misha gave me earlier in the process. I got sidetracked by one thing after another that I couldn't deal with it earlier. Who could have written me, I wonder? The name neatly adorning the back of the envelope freezes me in my tracks. It's been so long that I've seen her writing. There's a little chance I could have identified it as hers otherwise. Iwanako. Probably butchered the fuck out of that. Why should she have written me? I can't think of any good reason for her to do this. I almost don't open the letter, but with there being a little point to that if I just left it alone, its mere existence would gnaw at me until I did something about it. I look down at the piece of paper on my desk. Its bright and summery decoration beaming happily at me. The letter is in pink, jarring badly with the yellow sunflower border of the card. The handwriting is neat, at the characters having been written thoughtfully with an unusual amount of care. I'd barely given the letter a second thought when it was given to me, but now I can't get its contents out of my mind. Well, I'd like to say that I don't know why she used such an old-fashioned method of communication, considering a phone call or an email would have been both much faster and easier. The answer feels obvious enough to given the context. After a letter leaves a comfortable distance between the sender and the recipient. Unlike a phone, which isn't required that you engage in a conversation, and unlike email, there is less expectation of an immediate reply. Statements such as the third year seem to be very anxious in the final exams, and it's so weird to think that there already aren't seniors, isn't it? Or just small talk. Small talk that could have been achieved by simply replying to any message that I sent her while in the hospital. The ending, though, is true reason she sent this. The last couple of lines added almost as an afterthought. I wonder if we will meet again. Perhaps for the best if we don't. It's a statement that should hurt. I've always heard breakups are nasty stuff, but it feels like this empty reaffirmation of what we both already knew instead. The preceding text is no more than small talk. That makes me feel almost uneasy. I can't figure out why, no matter how long I sit here and look down at the bright and summery piece of paper. If you would like to correspond with me, by all means, write back. plainly obvious this is not the type of letter to be replied to. In the end, this letter is no more than a simple abdication of responsibility, a final statement to reassure herself that our relationship is over. As such, I find my little problem scrunching the letter envelope into a ball and tossing it in the waste bin, ridding myself of its existence. You can't really say that you had a relationship, because for starters, I mean, he didn't even say yes, like, so like you really can't break off something that if there was nothing to break to begin with. I don't know, that's just me. As such, I find myself with little problem in scrunching the letter envelope in a ball and tossing it into the waste bin, ridding myself of its ridding myself existence. I go to bed with mixed feelings, cheated out of a pleasant evening by this intruder from the past. Ironically, it takes a while before I can manage to sleep. I sweat profusely, waiting in the dreaded moment. Each tick of the clock tenses my muscles that much more. Every minute, making more hair stand on end. It's coming for me. I can feel it. Death. Death from the form of a single sheet of paper. I take the small pile of papers from the student for me and pass it forward after plucking the top piece. Looking to the top right of the page, I find my fears realized without a smaller circle. 43. I hang my head and sigh resignation. Cursing under my breath, I can feel the aura of my similar statement rising from the entire class. It's strange, but the fact lifts my mood by a minuscule amount. Misery loves company, I suppose. As the teacher opens her mouth, the room braces for the inevitable onslaught, only to be saved by the last minute. We quickly move to collect our bags and leave for the lunch place, but the teacher delivers a parting broadside. We'll be discussing the test scores next lesson. Needless to say, there will be quite some discussion to be had. A collective groan resounds from the class, now reduced to shuffling out dejectedly. I push the sheet into my bag as I walk along the way, crumbling into the process. It's enough that such a troublesome letter entered at my desk yesterday, and now this? I hate English. A stern female voice gruffly calls out from behind me. I freeze on the spot, becoming like stone. It's as if I can feel my brain disconnecting from my body. My eyes slowly shift at right, trying to catch a glimpse of a disembodied voice. Nothing? My face begins to slip past lip as time passes, and I decide to risk turning my head ever so slowly. I twist to the... I jump in the air as I drop my bag, yelling I'm surprised. As I regain my composure, I turn to see a should-have-known Emmy. Gotcha, Hisao. As she stands there with a mischievous grin on her face, standing toward the figure pointing inwards. She has the one who jammed my ribs with her fingers. I look down her with her grimace, throwing my hair in frustration. That's no way to greet someone, you know. You have no sense of humor. I let my sense of humor in my English class play to the teacher if you want it given back to me. She pulls her best puppy dog eyes on me as she pouts. Lily's managed to build on my resistance to the tactic, but Emmy's short guidance adds enough effect to make me relent. So how are things? I haven't seen you around over a while. Same old, same old. I run so fast that nobody wants to join me on my morning runs. It's a real pain. Her modesty never fails to amuse me. Although, you know what I'm thinking, don't you, Hisao? Wearing my emotions on my sleeve isn't my worst habits. She's seen right through me. Fortunately, I see someone else approaching us, so they gives me an out. Oh, hi, Hanako. I give her a welcoming wave, and I try my best to look like I haven't noticed Emmy's pouting face. She gives me a small wave back. And with that, that's all the time that I have for now. But before I end things off, though, I'd like to remind you guys to like the video, and subscribe, and share it. And also make sure to follow my socials. You can find them in the description below, and if you'd like to get a hold of me, you can DM me on Twitter and on Discord, but keep it PG or PG-13 at worst. That being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.